Sarada is going to save Boruto from Momoshiki using the Totsuka blade. Yeah, I know that sounds like a kind of ridiculous stretch, but I got a whole lot of evidence, so stick around with me for a second. See, one of the biggest talking points of this channel—
Sarada Uchiha is one of the most quietly important characters in Boruto, yet her future feels more uncertain than almost anyone else's. While the story focuses heavily on Boruto, Kawaki, and the looming Otsutsuki threat, Sarada stands at a crossroads that could define the entire future of the ninja world. And the scary part is this: no matter which direction the story takes, Sarada is likely headed toward tragedy. In my opinion, not because she's weak, not because she's irrelevant, but because she represents something Boruto's world is actively tearing apart. Let's get into the video.
What if there was another option? An option that didn't rely on either Boruto or Kawaki. An option that rather relied on a character who's seen massive upgrades in strength over the course of Two Blue Vortex and could use a plotline that thrusts them into the spotlight a little bit more. What if the person who was meant to save the world from Boruto and Momoshiki was none other than his primary love interest, Sarada? See, Boruto's idea of Kawaki killing him after the Shinju are defeated is all well and good, except for the fact that that plot line ends with the main character of the story dead for a second time. It also has the added detriment of turning Kawaki, one of the primary antagonists of Boruto's story, into the hero of the story. And while that would maybe be a good way to redeem him as he battles valiantly with the last Otsutsuki present on Earth, it would not only come at the cost of Boruto's life, but also at the cost of the acceptance that maybe Kawaki was going about getting rid of the Otsutsuki in the right way. And neither of those things—
Sarada's dream of becoming Hokage is not just a character goal, it's a direct challenge to the direction the story has been moving. Boruto is a narrative about the collapse of the shinobi system, the loss of faith in institutions, and the replacement of human struggle with godlike power. Sarada believes in the old world. Boruto is being pushed beyond it. That ideological clash alone puts her fate in danger. Sarada is positioned as the last true heir to the original Naruto philosophy. Not power for domination, but power for responsibility. Unlike Boruto, who increasingly rejects the shinobi path, Sarada embraces it fully. She wants leadership, accountability, and protection of the village. In a story that keeps asking whether the shinobi era should even exist, that belief is a liability. Which leads to the first major theory: Sarada will never become Hokage, because the role itself may die before she can claim it. Boruto's future constantly hints at a destroyed or radically changed Konoha. If the village system collapses, Sarada's lifelong dream becomes meaningless. That alone would be a devastating fate. Not physical death, but ideological death. A character who dedicates herself to a dream that no longer exists. But that may not be the worst outcome.
About Sarada hugging Boruto when he returns to Konoha, or her admitting to herself and Sumire that she has romantic feelings for Boruto. No, rather, I'm talking about the fact that Sarada's feelings for Boruto were so profoundly strong that simply knowing that he was being placed in danger through the firing of omnipotence was enough to allow her to unlock the MS, which is a trend with Sarada. As we know, she unlocked her Sharingan simply by seeing Sasuke after years of him being absent. And right there, we're able to pick up on a pattern that Sarada, by feeling a strong sense of love, is able to tap into a power that she didn't have access to before. And I believe the awakening of her Susanoo, and therefore her spiritual weapons, will follow that pattern. See, as it currently stands, we only know of one of Sarada's Mangekyō Sharingan abilities, Ohirame, an ability that she was able to awaken to the fullest of its strength by admitting to herself that she was suppressing her own emotions to ensure that she didn't step on the toes of those around her. See, it wasn't until Sarada admitted to herself that she loved Boruto and that she was keeping those emotions in check to be polite to Sumire was she able to truly use her Mangekyō Sharingan ability. However, once she did accept that she loved Boruto, accepted that she deserved to become the Hokage one day, and accepted that she's kept all of her emotions in check to try to be polite to those around her, she was able to use an MS ability so strong she could 1v1 a Shinju that manhandled a limitless code. But since
Sarada's Uchiha blood places her directly in the path of one of Naruto's darkest legacies. The Sharingan has always been tied to loss. Every major Uchiha power-up comes at an emotional cost, and Sarada has been spared that trauma so far, which makes it feel inevitable. The question isn't if Sarada will suffer loss, it's who that loss will involve. Boruto is the most likely trigger. If Boruto fully loses himself to Momoshiki or becomes an enemy of the village, Sarada may be forced into an impossible position. Protect her friend or protect the world. That kind of emotional pressure is exactly what has historically awakened the Mangekyō Sharingan. And unlike past Uchiha, Sarada's tragedy wouldn't be fueled by hatred. It would be fueled by responsibility. That makes her dangerous. Sarada becoming powerful through grief rather than rage would be a direct evolution of the Uchiha curse. Instead of falling into darkness, she may become colder, more calculated, and more isolated. A leader who understands loss but cannot afford emotional weakness. Which leads to the second theory. Sarada survives, but loses everything that made her human. She could become Hokage in a broken world, ruling over the ashes of the shinobi era. Not as a triumphant successor, but as a caretaker of something already dying. A Hokage without peace to protect. There's also the darker possibility. Sarada may be forced to oppose Boruto directly. Boruto's story is increasingly framing him as a necessary evil. Someone who will shoulder the hatred of the world to save it. If that's the case, Sarada could become the symbol of justice that stands against him. Not because she wants to, but because someone has to. That would mirror Naruto and Sasuke. But inverted. Instead of rivalry driven by ego, it would be conflict driven by duty. Sarada killing Boruto, sealing him, or standing as the final barrier between him and the world would be the ultimate tragedy. The girl who believed in the shinobi system forced to destroy her closest bond to preserve it. And that would permanently scar her. There's also the political angle. Sarada is one of the few characters capable of uniting bloodlines. Uchiha legacy, Hokage ideology, and modern ninja ethics. That makes her a threat to anyone who wants to erase the old system completely. If the world shifts toward Otsutsuki-level beings and god-tier power structures, Sarada represents resistance, which makes her expendable. Boruto's world has not been kind to symbols. Naruto was sealed. Sasuke is sidelined. Konoha itself is threatened. If Sarada is meant to symbolize the continuation of the shinobi path, then her fate may be to suffer, so that others can move forward. And that's the most terrifying part. Sarada's story is not being written as a power fantasy, it's being written as a burden. Every step she takes toward leadership moves her closer to sacrifice. The more responsibility she gains, the more she has to lose. Her fate may not be death, but it may be worse. She could live long enough to realize that the world she wanted to protect no longer wants to exist, that her dream of becoming Hokage was always out of sync with reality, that Boruto was right, and she was simply too late. If Boruto is the story of transcendence, Sarada is the story of consequence. And in stories like that, the character who carries consequence rarely gets a happy ending. Sarada's fate isn't about power. It isn't about romance. It isn't even about legacy. It's about whether the shinobi world deserves to survive, and if it doesn't, Sarada may be the one left standing to mourn it.